But at the end of the day, as now a university student, I think the one thing that I appreciate the most is how well prepared I've been for that transition from high school to university. I felt super prepared, and I think that speaking for my peers, they also felt very prepared.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
I think that I really appreciate the academic rigor that TFS, has and puts you through. I think that it's very fair, and obviously, in the moment, you're like, this is so much. This is like it's too intense. But at the end of the day, as now a university student, I think the one thing that I appreciate the most is how well prepared I've been for that transition from high school to university. I felt super prepared, and I think that speaking for my peers, they also felt very prepared. And whether it was dealing with this like new type of workload where you're very independent, self-regulated, while also trying to balance that social life, extracurriculars, and really just finding a middle. I think that TFS really well prepared all of us for that. Yeah, I think that, TFS doesn't it's not a one size fits all with TFS is what I learned over, my 15 plus years of being there. I think that I had the opportunity to be part of a class that was only about 68 to 70 people. So it really, in that type of small community feel, you really are able to build like unique relationships with all the teachers. And even, just other staff, whether it be, the administration, whether it be the cafeteria staff, it's like, you're really able to build these personal relationships with everyone in the community. And it really just makes the experience that more enjoyable. In 3 words, okay, I would say that the school is respectful. I think that they do a very good job, and I definitely saw that arc change as I was there. Starting back in 2005, it was definitely a different time, whether it be like a political climate or just everyone's opinions. And I really saw the school change in the way that they treat their students and how well they're able to respect everyone's diversity. So respect would definitely be the first one. I think caring would be the second. I think that whenever there were difficult times, difficult situations, whether it was with myself, it was with my younger brother who's also in TFS, or it was with any of my peers, I think that in general, TFS did a very good job at, making sure that they care about what's going on in your personal life, but also maintaining those respectful boundaries and maintaining your privacy and really just helping you, accommodate you while you're at school. I think the third word would be, I'd say it's diverse. I think that would be the third word, and especially, just tying back to respectful, and that their arc of how they've been able to adapt to changing climates. I think that really ties into their diversity and how much they appreciate diversity, and how much more it goes past than just English and French, or sorry, like Canada and France being the original main countries of TFS, but also really learning to appreciate the diversity in other countries that are all part of the TFS community. So those are the 3 words I think I describe TFS as. It would be that, look back onto that resume question. I think it would be that TFS created very diverse students, and you know there's different versions of what it means to be diverse, but I think for the most part it was just diverse skill sets. So it was whether these students were bilingual, whether they were trilingual, whether they were like athletes and also participated in clubs, or they were athletes and had like amazing academics. I think the main character trait would be diverse. I think, the value of respect and diversity, those two, I guess they go hand in hand, were the ones that I really saw on a day to day basis. I think that, especially in my older years, just as I was able to appreciate those type of things more so than in my younger years, right? When you're a kid, you don't really, that's not something that you pay attention to. But, as in my 10, 11, and grade 12 years, diversity and respect was definitely, I saw something that, TFS was really trying to accomplish and make sure that their families knew about it and that their current students and staff knew, and that no matter what your background, no matter what your skill level of what it could be, that you're being respected and you're being, treated as you should be. I think that when you drive by the main campus, for example, and it's such a big building, it's such a large complex. You have the different school, or sorry, the different you have the junior school, the petite école, you have the senior school. I think that something that people might find surprising is just how tight of a community it actually is, and that even though you're in this building with like six, 700 other people, six, 700 other students, sorry, it's that you really feel like you're part of a community and that you belong. And you start to recognize every face and every other face recognizes you. And I guess that ties back to being able to, create relationships with teachers who you want to create relationships. But it's also big enough to the point where, not everyone gets along. That's just life. And if you need that space from people and you don't want to have everyone in your face, you totally get that as well. So I think the feeling of a community is really what would surprise people at TFS. I think that the school really taught me the value of, trying your hardest and just being like prepared for what's to come. I think originally maybe I wasn't so prepared with things, and I really think just the way, whether it's their academics are structured or like, just the teachers are there to support you. I think that it's really taught me how to manage problems. It's taught me how to manage busy workloads. And it's also taught me how to communicate. I had multiple different experiences, or sorry, opportunities to communicate with different levels of people. I also had an opportunity to speak to the entire student body and administration, while giving the valedictorian speech. So I think it taught me how to present myself and how to, just be confident in myself. Yeah, for sure. And I think that as I was graduating, they really made a push for this change that I would have liked to see. And that's the just the feedback that you get from the administration team, but not so much on a parent side, but rather when students voice their concerns about whether it's something going on in the classroom, whether it's an initiative TFSs took. Originally, there wasn't much of a platform that could be used to really help students like voice their opinions, voice their concerns. But I think that as I moved to my older years, and I'm sure now over the last 2 years it's only gotten better, it's that offer students more platform to voice their opinions to the administration, and really get that ground level experience and tell them what's working, what's not working, and just hopefully, and then seeing that feedback in play. So I think that's one thing I'd like to see change, and I believe, fingers crossed, it's still going on. So yeah, so I think as a student, my perspective was mostly that okay, I'm at TFS, and it's this this academically strong school. It has sports, it has clubs, and it's just school, right? But then as I transitioned from student to alumni about 2 years ago, it's when I really had that or experienced that perspective change where I realized that yes, TFS is this amazing academic school, but it's also this amazing networking tool of alumni who are still, whether it's me 2 years out or it's an alumni 20 years removed now, are still willing to help, whether it's current students or new grads, like build a career. And that includes like, looking over your resume, having a coffee chat, or just wanting to chat about whatever industry they're in. So I think the biggest perspective change was learning that TFS has this huge networking facet that will, last forever, once you graduate. I would say first that it's academically challenging. It's not this like impossible like academic feat by any means, but it prepares you well. It teaches you how to learn, it teaches you how to problem solve. And I think that it's a very well structured curriculum. From when you start to when you finish, they care a lot about their academics. Two, it would have to be the community feel that you get from TFS. At the end of the day, TFS is growing, but it's still not to the point where you have like 300 people in your graduating class. You're still limited to, around, as I said, I graduated with only 70 people. So it really gives you an opportunity to feel like you're becoming part of this community rather than just a transactional relationship between, okay, go to school, come home. And I think the third reason would have to be that, just the staff is great. I think that TFS, the higher ups at TFS do a really good job at hiring staff that cares, and I think that that made a big difference. And that there weren't too many opportunities or too many circumstances where I was like, oh man, like I need I wish I had a different teacher. For the most part, especially in my later years where it really mattered in the high school years, I got along great with my teachers, and I think that made a big difference in how I was able to perform. And looking back on my memories, they're good memories because of that. So those would have to be the three reasons I'd recommend TFS to prospective parents. I would say that there aren't many there aren't many cons to TFS, I would say. I think that, they offer the breadth that TFS offers is very wide, whether it be like location, having the the West Campus available, or, the Toronto campus available. I think that it just addresses so many needs and concerns that there's no going wrong with trying it out. And being just taking that leap of faith with TFS, I really think that, as someone who spent my entire life there, and my brother who's going to finish up in 2 years and have spent his entire life there, that there weren't many things that came up that couldn't be addressed or couldn't be dealt with in a very like meaningful manner. So I would say that that's the reason. It would be to just take advantage of all the opportunities available. And it would also be to take that step to create your own opportunities. If that certain opportunity isn't available to you, I think I'm a good example of that. And is that I wanted to do this type of club that I saw at other schools but weren't available at TFS at the time. And I took that step, and I got nothing but support from my principal and my teachers who wanted to supervise. So it would be really just to take advantage of everything that's offered to you, and really just do your best, try your best, and that's all you can ask for, right? I think that as I mentioned, TFS, it really does offer it all. I think whether it be academics, whether it be sports, extracurriculars, and then when you graduate, this amazing alumni pool. I think that TFS it's a great choice. It's a great choice for private education for your kids, and that there's not much that can go wrong when choosing TFS.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.